Today I am starting the impossible task of installing these Bilstein triple bypass and coilover shocks on the front end of Dig Dug. They need to be installed down on the axle, and I have to build a hoop that'll connect them to the frame. It needs to be super strong and hold the entire weight of the front end of the vehicle. All of these parts need to pivot and swing and articulate and move in a way that none of them collide when everything's in motion. My first task is to get this panhard bar figured out. I've got to get it in place so I can move the axle around and see if I have any clearance issues right now. The axle is centered really good left and right, so I just need to mark this track bar and go cut it to length. Next, I've got to cut the bar that I welded in between the axle and the frame over on the other side. With those pieces chopped out and the truck sitting on these pipe stands, the axle is free to move up and down. So this is where I get to find out if I've got enough clearance for everything to do what it needs to do. I'm gonna start lifting this axle up and we'll see what hits. Then we have to decide, is that something we can fix, or is that the limit of how far it can travel up? So this side can't go up anymore because the upper control arm hit something. A little trimming back on this body mount, even like 1/4 of an inch, might end up being like an inch or two of travel here on the wheel, so definitely worth doing. Okay, I've got it marked out. I'm gonna lower this down and get in there with a grinder. This is why I put a bend in the upper links. This area is always a tight fit, and without that bend, it would have been a lot worse. Clearance that little area. I'm gonna lift this up on the jacks again and see if it hits somewhere else. Grinding that spot definitely got me a couple more inches of travel. It is hitting again in the same spot, but I can do a little bit more and get even more wheel travel. Let me show you this. This is what's blowing my mind. Nothing in here is touching. It's still all just barely got enough clearance to move. So the fact that nothing's touching in there means these parts were designed really well. I'm gonna measure really quick to see if I had tires on here, how far up they'd be going. All right, my tire would be coming up to the 20-inch mark, which is into the fender a little bit, but I know I'm gonna be trimming these fenders, so I wanna go a little bit further. I'm gonna do a little bit more clearancing on the cab mount down here, and then we'll call this side good. My 20-inch mark is well above the fender line at this point. I don't think I will trim them up that far. That means the tires are gonna be the limiting thing on how far my suspension can travel upwards. I will build bump stops to keep them from hitting the fenders and tearing them up. And this side is as far as it can go. We don't need to clearance anything else. Let me show you something else I found though when I started trying to steer the knuckle. You can see that this steering arm hits the panhard bracket every time I make a right turn. That's not gonna work. That steering arm is also the cap for the knuckle, so I can't completely remove it, but I think I could chop off the arm, and I don't need to use it because my tie rod's going down to the lower location. It's just up here temporarily, so that arm's probably gonna have to go, and I'm gonna need to find another place for the hydraulic assist ram to hook up to. This spot up here was pretty busy anyway, so attaching the ram down on the tie rod probably makes more sense for this truck. Tie rod's gonna go from here down to here. The driver's side is looking good. I think we have all the clearance we need over here. Time to move on to the passenger side. But first, I've got an errand that I need to run, and I think you're gonna like it, so I'll bring you along. I've got that red WJ loaded up in the trailer behind me, and I'm taking it to St. George Transmission. Those guys have been really good to us. They built the transmission for the Wrecker, for the Banana, and they even did a school bus. And they've all been great, and so I know they can handle this one. It's only got first gear right now, so it does run, like I drove it on the trailer, but it doesn't shift after first gear. So maybe it'll be an easy fix, like just a solenoid or something, or maybe that transmission needs a complete rebuild. Either way, I'm sure they can handle it. I really like WJs. They're really easy to work on because there's so much space under the hood. They have a solid front axle. I like the NP242 transfer case because it comes with an all-wheel drive mode that was really nice in Idaho winters. They don't make a lot of power, but for a high school kid car, that was okay. And they've run for a long time. The inline six engine lasts forever. This one's got 250,000 miles, and I think there's still some life left in it. They came with a V8, but I always opted for the inline six version. This will be a really fun project car, and it'll be great to get it going again. So we'll drop it off there and see what these guys say. We're back here in their shop, and the first thing they do is run a scan test, and hopefully that'll show us some easy things we might be able to fix without tearing this whole thing out of there.
Let me pull these up and just we'll watch this and go drive it. The governor pressure is 0, but the actual governor pressure is 35.9 psi. That should be in third gear, not first. On your output shaft, you should see your desired governor pressure rise, and then your actual governor pressure should chase that.
Did these shift like 10 psi is the first shift, 20 psi is the next shift, 30 psi is the next shift?
Right now it's calling for like 35, so you should be in third gear. It's a 3-speed transmission with a fourth gear.
That's electric.
Is electric.
Right? Okay.
And so
when the pressure's high,
you're in third gear.
Okay. All right, this is cool to be able to have all the diagnostics live. So we're gonna go on a little test drive and see what happens.
So even when it's commanding over that one, it's not doing anything. So it's not, oh, there you go.
Oh, we got a shift.
Yeah, that's first gear.
There it goes.
That's weird because that means that it's shifting, because it has to be third gear.
So this is kind of a hybrid between these old transmissions that were hydraulic.
Yeah. The fact that the gears are there, that's very promising, because that tells me we can get the electronics working properly, and we can have a transmission that's shifting the way it's supposed to.
So you could probably repair it by dropping the pan, pulling the valve body, and replacing some parts.
Yeah, we got to do a couple more tests, but we have to do those tests inside the unit.
All right, we had a good test drive, and these guys know what they need to do now, so I'm going to turn it over to them from here.
We've got a pressure transducer issue. It's reading pressure when it should not be reading pressure, so next step of what Tom needs is some diagnostic testing. So we're going to take it over to our other shop where we got a little bit more room and get the pan off and start running some testing, so we'll get some footage when that comes up.
Awesome. Do you guys mind showing me around the shop? I love going and seeing other places that people work and what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a walk around. So this is a teardown bench. Vaughn's working on a Honda unit right here. This is an 8-speed unit, I think, out of a Jeep.
If you're in southern Utah and you've got transmission issues, come talk to these guys. They have been great to work with. I'm excited that WJ is going to be working again. Misadventure Labs is like 2 blocks away from here, right over that way. I'm going to stop in and see what they're up to. Here they are.
Yeah, I thought I had a big project for Tom, and he made it into a little problem I can probably fix myself. So thanks, Tom.
They do have some really cool stuff going on. I'll show you really quick. Check this thing out. Cobra. Coyote engine. Yeah, they're gonna have a good time with this.
In Idaho, do they say coyote or coyote?
Coyote's just kind of slang. I think they say both. I say both. Is there like a right and wrong? If you call it a coyote engine, I would think that was a little weird.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right, but like if I see a coyote running around, and hey, look at that coyote.
A coyote, yeah.
So it just depends on the situation. Let Tom know
which one is proper, coyote or coyote. How you been, man?
Good.
It's good to see these guys.
Oh, finally get you over here. Finally.
Finally, they bought me lunch.
That's what it takes.
It was good to see those guys. I'm back in the shop now, and I'm ready to check out the clearances on the passenger side. First thing I'm gonna do is take this tire off and get all these wires tucked out of the way. Most of this wiring is all gonna come out of here and get redone in the next couple weeks. This side's not quite as busy as the other side, and it's mainly because the panhard bracket's not sticking way up out of here off the frame, and there's no steering gear in the way. The panhard mounts down here on the axle, but it still has some clearance issues that I've got to address. Right here. I know I'm gonna have the same problem with the upper control arm hitting the cab support, so I'm gonna start clearancing that right now. While I'm in here, there's a bunch of other stuff on this side that I'm gonna clean up as well. I've done enough clearancing and cleaning up. I'm gonna jack up the axle now, and we'll see what hits on this side. Right now where I'm at, this tire would already be into the fender, so I don't need to go too much further, but I want a little bit more. That's way up there. Okay, that's pretty good right there. I'm doing good. I'm not hitting anything in here. Panhard bar's doing good. I've still got clearance back here where I ground on the cab mount. Right now, this is passenger side axle is up, driver side is down. I'm gonna try and lift the driver's side up at the same time and then see if I hit anything under the frame here. I'm watching really close between the oil pan and the panhard bar. As I start to move the other side up, so this is like full compression, both axles up, this is where I run into trouble. You can see right in here, this panhard is starting to touch the differential, so it's gonna need a bend in it. Bending up this track bar is gonna be tricky. In addition to avoiding the oil pan and the differential, I also have to work around the drag link, but I've got an idea on what I wanna do. I gotta stop right here though, because this is a super busy week, so I've got another thing that I'm gonna go do for a little while. Of course, I'll bring you along. We are on the road, heading up to Idaho right now. We're going up there because Bridger is moving into school. He's going up to college at BYU-I in Rexburg. So we're gonna help him move in this weekend and see all of our kids and help them with a few things while we're there. Maybe have a little bit of fun. How's the weather, Angela?
77 and smoky.
Yep, there's fires in California and they're blowing smoke this way. We're gonna pull into Maverick here and then we'll get back on the road. We've got about 6 hours till we get there.
Idaho or bust.
We left a little late today, so it's getting dark on us. We're gonna pull over and grab some food. We will see you in the morning up in Idaho. It is a beautiful morning here in Idaho Falls. It's really cool, and I haven't been cold in a long time because Hurricane is so hot this time of year. But we're here and we've got a little work to do before we move Bridger in today because his cooling fan is not working in this Jeep. It's an electric fan. So we're gonna try and swap that out really quick before we get him moved up to school. This guy right here. Did a little testing on this plug down here, and if we feed it power, this fan just does not turn, nothing. We just need to get this one out of here and get that one put in. Looks like we just have 4 bolts we gotta remove and this thing should come out. They're gonna be a little tricky to get to, but we'll do it. I'm gonna have you do the hard ones. All right, there's one. How's that one to get to up there? Do you wanna start on that one?
Sure.
I got the easy ones and I'm leaving the hard ones for this guy. This box is shaped kind of nice for this.
There's no wheels on the box.
There's supposed to be wheels on the bus. Can I have a butter knife? So Bridger got the hard bolts out. We're gonna see if we can shimmy this thing out of here now. Shimmy your side. That side's locked into something. Oh. Here. If we can keep that up, we'll hang on to more fluid. Did that come out? Yep. All right, I think we got it. It's coming out. Oh, here it goes.
Now I'm covered.
What's connecting it? Oh, there it is. All right, here's the new one and the old one. It looks like a pretty exact fit. We had to remove a couple more things than we wanted to, but this should go together pretty good. Guide me down in on that side.
I don't know how you did, actually.
There we go.
Oh. I like
Oh,
that.
well, it's got to go down a little further over here. Okay, we're in. Don't overdo it. It'll be easy to go like
but this
way
is the
too hard.
13.
Oh yeah, switched up.
Where's the 10? Do you have it?
Don't blame me for the missing tens.
Who moved my tools?
Everybody knows it's kids that does that.
Okay. Is that enough? I did one.
Do a little bit by hand, and then you'll know.
Okay.
I can only peek through this little hole with one eye, so my stereoscopic vision is a little impaired. Oh, well, that doesn't look right.
Should I just leave it like that?
No. There it goes.
Amateur.
Is that faster than the transmission, Bridger?
Looks good in there. Look at that, brand new. This is all back together. We're gonna top off this radiator and get Bridger on the road. Angela even put the belt sticker on.
No problem.
We got that Jeep put back together and Bridger took right off to school. It's about a half-hour drive north to get to Rexburg. So we're following behind. Angela's driving this morning.
Yes, I am. Rexburg or bust.
Okay, we'll get up there and help him get moved in. We got Bridger dropped off and he's a pretty self-sufficient kid. I think I was a big help. Angela and I were just here talking about how we're trying not to consider ourselves empty nesters, but as bird launchers.
We're just launching them from the nest, left and right. Fly, birdies, fly.
We're not gonna have really any time to miss them because we're driving right back up there tomorrow to go on a hike. All right, it's tomorrow morning. I rounded up the fam for a hike. We're heading over to the Tetons. It's a beautiful day. We're gonna have a good time out here. See who we got in the back. Angela, how's the weather?
58 degrees, perfect for a hike.
All right, we're just gonna keep heading in. This is prime spud truck country, so I'm watching the sides of the road for a good deal. Stop it!
Sorry,
They know they want one.
that's hilarious.
I'm using Onyx in here to guide me through some of these trails. This road crosses private land in here in a couple spots, and then it opens up into the Forest Service land. So that's one of my favorite features about Onyx, is it tells you land use and land ownership, which is really helpful when you're back in here and don't know the area that well. You can get 20% off a first-year membership by using code TomTom. You can also use the link in my description, and it'll apply the discount automatically. All right, we're hiking in. We got about three and a half miles to go, and we're gonna get to this really cool cave, and we're gonna go check it out a little bit. My daughter's kind of scared to go back in there, but I think we've got her convinced to go do it.
I am scared about the cave.
But you're gonna do it, right?
Yes.
We're going right here to this cave. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
That looks fun. We've been hiking for a while. We've probably got a quarter of a mile to get up to the cave. There's like a steep, rocky staircase that gets you up to it. So we'll go check out what's inside. We stopped before getting into the cave to eat our PBJs. Hers is sourdough.
That's right.
Mine's a wheat.
Homemade raspberry jam, though.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's good.
We're getting close. This waterfall here is water that pours out of the cave, trickles down the rocks, then drops off right here. So we're almost there.
Yeah, we have.
I switched up to cave mode. We're gonna start heading in. Oh yeah, that's where we're heading.
That's where we are going. That's the crew.
Oh,
Going through there? Yeah.
oh you are.
Oh yeah, I'm taking one.
Okay. I'm right here behind you. You're okay. We're way back in the cave. I gotta shut these off for a minute so I can scramble around and get through this. Jessie's been a little worried about cave spiders because she played way too much Minecraft.
Hey!
I guess they're dangerous. That's the way in. Let's see the way we came from. Oh, that's small.
That is maybe a little more. It's so weird.
Yeah, it blows through here. Oh, this is the tricky
take
part,
it.
huh? It curves really tight, up and to the right and then to the left. Easy, it'll get you. Point to a bridger, show them the rock. Boom. Yeah, that one will get you. How you guys doing up here?
We can stand! Woo!
We can't.
This one you can kind of just waddle through.
The military's gonna send me an invite after this.
You're doing the army crawl. All right, we've been crawling around back in here for a while, and we've reached a spot that it takes ropes to get beyond it, so we're gonna turn around and head back out, but this has been fun. Are you glad you came?
I am. Yeah.
Right on. We're gonna go find some sun and warm back up. So we're climbing through this cave, and these guys come out the other way, because they went in the ice side.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do? You rappel off a frozen waterfall, I've heard.
Yep. There's some points of no return where you got to come all the way out this way. So
I've heard there can be ice dams too, so you can't make it
Yeah, there's
through.
normally one right here.
Yeah, there's
Normally one right at this
It's kind of the
spot.
driest time of year
It
for the cave.
forms off of that little trickle right there, and
Okay.
it fills in that hole.
Yeah.
And people have been trapped in here on the wrong side of the ice plug. My boots are still full of water.
Ripping. Oh my gosh. Well, you guys have an awesome time. We're gonna soldier on.
Thank you. You guys have a great day as well.
All right, there's light ahead. We made it out. All right, we made it out. We're gonna go find Angela. We'll switch back into hiking mode and get on our way.
Hi, guys.
Bridger.
I did it. Video?
Cruising out pretty fast now. It's mostly downhill. Feeling good, except for some sore elbows and knees from that cave. I have said this before, and I will probably say it again. This is my last time going in that cave. We were driving out, and I saw a couple of spud trucks for sale on the side of the road, so I'm gonna check them out really quick. Can't read the miles, it's all fogged up. But it actually looks pretty clean. This is a nice truck. I'd like an earlier model, but I do like the way these ones look.
How was the ceiling?
All right, we've got one more stop that we want to make. We're going to something called the Rabbit Stick. I've never been to it before. It's some kind of a bushcraft fair, like mountain man rendezvous thing. I've got a friend there that I'm trying to catch up with. He actually lives down in Kanab, which is like 8 hours south of here. But he's up here this weekend. I think he teaches at this. And I'd like to hire him to do some work to help me out, speed things up in the shop a little bit. He's a really good welder. and he's up here. So we're gonna stop in and check out the rabbit stick and see if we can talk to him a little bit. I think we're going the right way. There's no cell service out here, so we're just gonna walk around for a bit and try to find Jake. All right, I found Jake. He's here and he's teaching classes here and he's late. He's got to go, but you're gonna be seeing more of this guy because he's awesome. He's a super welder and he has all these crazy bushman skills, bushcraft skills.
Bushcraft, yeah, wilderness skills, ancestral living skills, kind of what we call it. So yeah, it'll be good.
Okay.
We'll make some cool stuff.
Good to see you, man.
Likewise.
Okay, take care. All right, that was a huge success. We found him pretty easy. I guess everybody in there knows Jake Hartner. He's a legend. We've done everything we came here to do. It's been a great trip. We're gonna be heading back tomorrow and we'll see you back in the shop. I'm back working in my shop, trying to figure out where I left off before my very fun trip to Idaho. I think I was about to start bending the track bar. And I've decided before I do that, I want to reinstall the power steering gear and move the tie rod down to the lower location. So I'm not guessing about where those bends need to be. I can figure out exactly where it's going to hit and bend it just right. So I'm going to do that really quick. The steering gearbox is back in, and you can see that the clearance between the pitman arm and the panhard bar bracket is really, really close. I can actually make these touch if I rock the tie rod in the wrong way. Right now I'm just gonna live with it, and at some point I'll probably put a little notch in the bracket here for the panhard bar. Now I'm gonna take this tie rod end and get it out of this temporary location and move it down to its new permanent home. The tube inserts were just tacked in place on this temporary tie rod. I'm cutting them loose so I can weld them in place on the real one. This tubing's 1.5 inches in diameter and 1/4 inch thick wall. It should make a nice tough tie rod that even mounted down low should live a long, long time. All right, it's time to chop this arm. It's a work of art. I hate to cut into it, but it interferes with this right here, so it's coming out. I'm gonna try and use a Sawzall so I don't build up too much heat. If that doesn't work, then I'll just go with a grinder and move real slow. It did it. I'm gonna hang on to this because we might end up relocating it for the hydraulic assist ramp. Maybe we'll just go off the tie rod. I don't really know yet. Okay, interference problem should be fixed. These welds have cooled down, so I can start putting this together. The tie rod's in and it's looking good. That's the easiest one because there's no bends anywhere in the tie rod. The next one I'm gonna work on is the drag link. That goes from the pitman arm up on the driver's side all the way over to the steering arm on the passenger side. This one's gonna have a big curve in it, so I've got to figure out exactly what that's gonna look like. I'm gonna go build the drag link right now. I'm just gonna install one rod end in and I'll just leave it long and see how it fits in here. I'm building a drag link, but I'm using tie rod ends instead of drag link ends in this. And that's because they're a little bit stronger, but they don't have quite as much range of motion. So I'm gonna need to build some kind of offset bend into this link so that it doesn't run out of range and bind up and break something. I'm gonna go install this and try to figure out how much bend I'm gonna need. All right. Gonna connect right up here to this. So this can go down that far. It can go down a long ways, actually. It's doing pretty good. It looks like I've got a pretty good range of motion, but I can tell I'm still gonna need a bend in this drag link because I've got to clear the pulley on the front of the engine. This is the axle at full droop, so I'm not finding any clearance issues right now. I'm gonna go back to full stuff because that's where the problems are, and then I'm gonna figure out where those bends in the drag link and the pan hard need to be based on that. I made some marks on that drag link. I'm gonna pull it out now and bend in a 2-inch offset. I marked out the location of my bends over here, and on the other end, I'm gonna weld a scrap piece of steel onto it so that I can put my angle finder there and make sure when I flip it over, I get it exactly 180 degrees offset. All right, that's exactly where we wanted it. I'm gonna go pull this out, test fit it in the truck, figure out where we need to chop it off, and weld in my tube insert. All right, here it is, all finished up with its 2-inch offset, and it's ready to go in the truck. I think it has enough drop to help a little bit with the angles on the tie rod ends, which weren't as bad as I thought. And it opens up a little space between the panhard bar and the drag link, and that's exactly what I need, because I've got to bend that panhard out a little bit to clear the diff cover. So that's the next thing I need to work on. I'm finally ready to start working on the panhard bar. This is the tricky one. And I've done a whole bunch of measuring, and I've articulated the axle, and I think I've got a plan that I can put a couple of bends in this and it'll clear everything. So time to pull this out and start bending. These bends are going to be a little tricky. These bends are going to be a little tricky. They're really close to the end of the tubing and they're really close together. So I'm going to give it a try on this. If I mess it up, I have one extra piece of tube. So I've got to get it right on the first 2 tries. All right, the panhard bar is bent. I put the rod ends back in it. I'm gonna go install this in the truck and see if I can get full stuff. The panhard bar is installed, and it looks like the bends bought us quite a bit of clearance. All right, you guys probably know Kevin. He stopped by because he saw I chopped up that old axle in a video, and they're just the parts he needs to make his buggy a rear steer. Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's the possibility. Yeah, I got a Sterling 2.5 that these knuckles will fit on, and I have a friend running Dana 50, so it'll give them some spare shafts.
We're gonna spread the love around. All right, we're gonna go grab that and load it up really quick and drag it over to his place.
That's not too bad.
I probably don't even need this wagon because Kevin can just pick these up and throw them around.
Whatever.
But we're gonna use it.
It'll be easier for us.
Yeah.
You're probably not used to someone pushing it.
No. About there. Yeah, I'll show you.
Well, since Tom decided to give me some parts, I decided to give him my old XJ. I don't know if you remember the Cherokee rolling off the cliff with Caitlin in it, but
that's from
that. This is from that.
All
and that
right.
skid plate that I gave you is from that. So
this is a very famous exhaust system.
Well, came from a famous roll.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Okay. I got the exhaust and an LS intake manifold. We'll find some place to put that too. Okay. Thanks, Kevin. We'll see you, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
I'm back in the shop and I'm ready to get these brake lines and this steering stuff out of the way so we can fit the shocks in here. I don't want to open up the power steering system. I just want to unhook this reservoir and push it out of the way so I can get access to the frame right below it. I think I want to hook in right in here to the frame and come right up through here with the tower. So this is going to be in the way. All right, I got the steering out of the way. I just parked it over here temporarily. I think I want to come off the frame right here and then up next to the brake master cylinder and then back down to the frame right in here somewhere. I took a few measurements so I can figure out what that hoop is going to be shaped like, And let me show you something that I got recently that's gonna be a huge help for building things like this. Check this out. I got this kit from 911 Motorsports, and it's got hinges and sliding tubes and guides to help with notches and coping the ends of the tubing. It is a huge leap beyond the pool noodles I was using before. So I'm gonna use this to mock up the hoop that I'm trying to build in there for the shocks to mount to. So I took some measurements. I'm gonna just design it with this and then kind of set it in place there and see how it looks. I'm test fitting it now with the shock in there, and this is pretty close to what the actual hoop is gonna look like. So the tools from 911 Motorsports should speed this up a lot. I was hoping to have these shock hoops fabricated and all welded in by now, but like I said, it's been a busy week. That's okay, because I've got this new mock-up hoop that will help me design some parts, some brackets that I'm gonna have built by Send Cut Send. They'll be real precise and they'll help me speed up this install. So you'll be able to see me do that soon. Thanks for watching.